What's up everyone, Citybug here. Today's video is on tips and tricks to level up every aspect and skill fast in the game so you can get to the end game within an hour. In the past it took me 2 hours, but I've really crunched it down with some really efficient hacks I hope can help you too. However, I do want to throw out that there's a difference between speedrunning and what I like to call skill running. Now if you guys have played Minecraft, speedrunning means killing the Ender Dragon pretty much. But in Survivor 3 it takes on a new meaning. Speedrunning in Survivor 3 is usually when a player focuses on one specific skill or item in the game. Usually, or the most popular is Blue Steel or Mithril. And with skill, it's usually Smeltery. Now focusing on collecting everything, each skill a level 4 at least, and acquiring Blue Steel or Mithril is what I like to call skill running or general speed running. But in today's video, I'm hopefully going to help generalized speedrunning become a lot easier and efficient for you so you can have everything within an hour or so, or less. First things first, so when you spawn on an island, what you want to do first is collect every resource on that island, including the bushes and trees. So for me, I spawned on Flax Island. Now Flax Island has a lot of good resources. It has the stone, has herbs, there's flax flowers, the trees, and we also have some good little bits of iron. So what you want to do is just basically forage all the really good items first off, right off the bat, and then craft our basic tools. So you can watch my other video for tutorials on those, but pretty much what I did here is I crafted a pickaxe because I wanted to get this iron on this island. And you want to make a fire starter, a bucket or clay container if there's clay on your island, such as Terrafix or Spring Isle. You want to make a raft, a spear, or a weapon. It doesn't have to be a spear, but you do want a weapon. I like to make small composts in the beginning. And if I have berries or flax flowers, all the level 1 farming goods, I want to plant those first if I can. Now that we have our tools, we want to make some objectives. So for me, I wanted to go over to the oil spill that's near this island and get myself some oil. I also have flax on this island, so it makes it easy for me to craft a raincoat. So my objectives were to make a oil filter, a crude one, get myself some iron so I can make a forge, and make myself a well. After you've made some objectives with your island, you want to complete those real quick while also multitasking. So one big thing that I like to do, as you've probably already noticed, is multitask. So here I was making my pickaxe, I was mining my iron, then I was also working on an oil filter, and then also a raincoat, which the oil filter potentially to a raincoat, as well as get myself a well. But I also needed thatching, so I needed to leave the island soon. So what you want to do is do everything you can on that island before you start needing other things that you can get on other islands. In this example of me generalized speedrunning, I wanted to make a forge and a well, but I needed wheat to do that. I also wanted to make a stove long term because I already had the oil. It would make things a lot easier later. So you want to take advantage of the areas around you. Now if I waited to get the oil, I would have to probably cross a lot farther distance. So after you've kind of done your objectives, you want to prioritize getting iron and coal, as that will be pretty important items in the game. You can make so much with iron. If you combine iron and coal, you'll get steel. You make charcoal, you can make a stove, bakery, there's so many options. So you want to prioritize iron and coal, and you also want to make a forge as soon as possible and an iron pickaxe. Be constantly building and working on things. You want to be multitasking. You want to be planting things so you can get your farming up. You want to be crafting just tons of buildings and things. You can also fish in the beginning too. It's a very good beginning food source. Here I made a net. You can make a long rod if you want, or even just a crude rod. I like to make a net because it catches more fish. I like to get a head start on quarries. This is a quarry I'm making right now. It's 2 tree stumps, a stone, and a rope, and you click create tool. And what you can do with quarries is place it down near stone. So because I have this big rock and there's iron by it,
I'm able to place the quarry there. But if there's no stone on the island that you're currently on, quarries are pretty useless in the beginning. Now I like to build them because they generate boulders. As you all know, you can use boulders to create stone walls and other useful items in the game, and it just speeds up the crafting process instead of taking small stones and crafting them into boulders and then into stone walls. Now I'm ready to leave Flax Island. I'm gonna head over to Paradise as it's closed and I need the wheat. While I'm traveling on a boat, I like to check my skill levels, see where I'm at, as well as open my backpack and see what I have and make new objectives. As you may have noticed, I am heading back to the Flax Island because I completely forgot my small compost. So before you leave your island, you want to make sure you collected everything you've kind of placed down. You want to just make sure you've got everything and then exhaust the island from its resources. Just collect everything that's there and then leave. And also fill up your water bucket. You do not want to have an empty water bucket and your thirst be low while you're traveling to another island, especially when that island does not have a water source. So here I am again with my backpack open. I'm looking at the things I want to pull out first right when I land. It speeds up the process and you're not sitting on the island and then trying to figure out what you're going to place down. So I went straight for the wheat. I wanted to forge all the wheat real quick and then craft 2 pieces of wheat, click create item to get thatching, place that down, and then make myself a forge. What I also could have done here is craft the rest of my wheat into wheat bundles and wheat seeds, as that will speed up the process for later when I'm making bread and planting wheat. As you may have noticed, it was hard for me to find certain items in my backpack. And the way to fix this is there's also that little search bar in the top right corner of your backpack that you can type in an item and quickly find it. I use that a bunch more later when my backpack is more full. But coming back to objectives, we want to think long-term with our objectives. So, for example, in this clip, I was making a forge so I can get an iron pickaxe, then mine coal, and craft steel in the long run. Right here, I got my wheat that I needed, but now I'm just going to pretty much just pick up helpful resources because I will need a ladder pretty soon. Unfortunately, I had to get off, so I got on later that day and started speedrunning or generalized speedrunning again. And here I am in 11 minutes in. I'm playing with a friend this time for a little bit, but I got myself a forge. I did pretty much the same thing that happened in the last video. We just got back up right to where we were, did the same kind of stuff. The forge is useful for is an anvil. You get yourself an anvil and you can craft iron into things. So right here I'm making myself an iron bucket. I normally never go for an iron bucket, but I was also making a thirst guide as well as a generalized speedrunning guide. So basically you just want to click the anvil, you want to get a piece of iron and then a rope in your crafting menu and then click create tool and you can make an iron bucket or a milking pail. The iron bucket holds 20 drinks, which is just 5 more than the clay container. Now in this generalized speedrun, I actually spawned on Terrafix, so I already had wheat. So then I went to Flax and then to Paradise and decided to make myself a lumber mill so I could get a better boat. I normally like to get on top of the shipbuilding because I don't like using rafts. They're very slow and I like to get my catamaran as soon as possible as it holds 40 speeds, which is pretty much the fastest boat in the game. However, before I could make a catamaran, I had to make a sailboat because I didn't have the shipbuilding skill quite yet. You need shipbuilding 4 to get a catamaran and shipbuilding 3 to get a sailboat. So I had to craft a few more rafts so I could get my shipbuilding up to level 3 and then build my sailboat. The next island I was going to go to was Rockma. Here I am again checking my backpack, seeing what I got in my inventory, getting my forge ready. I decided actually to go to Bento because I did need some more tree stumps and other resources before I could go to Rockma.
In this case, I wanted to make a stove, but I needed charcoal to make that. So in order to get charcoal, I needed to make a forge and get an iron pickaxe.
Here I am also multitasking. I'm filtering the oil because I need oil to get a stove and lantern. So I'm filtering my oil as I do other things. While I'm on this island, I want to make a weapon. As I talked about before, you always want to get a water source in the beginning, or a water container. You want to get a weapon, a pickaxe, and a fire starter. So here I am making a stone spear so that I can kill this bento and get myself a bento hide so that I can make armor in the future instead of having to come back later to try to get this bento hide and craft my armor. So you want to be working on multiple things at once. So if you're working on one thing, one specific thing, and you just forget everything else, then I will be losing time in the long run. So I'm taking advantage of my time here. I'm trying to get some more meat here because my hunger is getting a little bit low, and I want to make sure that I don't have to leave Rockma in order to get food. While I'm on the island, I do want to get myself some berries as they are there and accessible, easy to get, so that I can plant them in the future and get pretty much every plant in the game, so I can save time in the future. Because if I'm trying to focus on farming near the end of all my journalized speedrunning, then I'm gonna have to go to every single island and pick up those plants, and it'll just waste a lot of my time. Whereas if I just pick them up while I'm on that island, it saves so much more time. Now that I'm on Rockma, I decided to just go straight for killing the Rockma because I need the hide for armor later, and it was just right there, right when I got off. When you're killing Rockmas, Terrifics, or Bentos, they don't attack unless you attack. So what I like to do is pull up my health bar right above my head and make sure that my health is okay and that I won't die while fighting the Rockma or Terrifix or Bento, whatever I'm fighting at the moment. Here I am looking in my backpack trying to get my tree stumps out when I notice I only have 2 and I need 3 to craft a ladder. So sometimes this may happen to you, but in this case, you just gotta think outside of the box instead of going back to your island. So I'm gonna make myself a knife. I'm gonna get my cut stone out and a string, just use what I have on me and make myself a stone knife. And basically what I can do is just trim the logs so that they stick to the walls. So if I place it here, it'll just stay instead of fall. And I can just place both of them and climb up that way. Now that I've got my iron and coal, I want to get my forge out and I want to make my still. So to make still, you just got to craft your iron and coal together, create item, 1 piece each. Then you got to cook the still mix and get yourself refined still. What you can do with the still is make a still pickaxe, and you can mine gold, mithril, and chromite in the game. As I did before, I went back and gathered more resources from the island before leaving to make sure that I got enough iron. So here I am mining some more iron real quick and making sure that I have all that I need for later. And right here I'm thinking long term, because I'm going to need more iron later to get myself more refined still so that I can get blue still. I ended up going back to Bento Islet as it had more of the resources that I needed. I needed more tree stumps. I needed more of the water, which is easier access than Rockna, as that one has a river or a waterfall. And I wanted to make myself a stove now. I had the items that I needed. I just needed to craft it. While I was thinking about the stove, I also was thinking about my food and hunger and thirst. You always want to be thinking about those as well. So right here I made a mill and I started making myself some bread, as this would be useful, and because I was making a stove, it would be a lot easier to cook the bread. Also ended up cooking all my ores here so I could get refined gold and refined iron so that it would be easier for later if I pull out my forge and just quickly craft the items instead of having to cook them. While I was working on my smithing skills, I also wanted to be working on my farming skills. So you want to work on multiple skills at once, either long term or short term. Here I'm working on just farming and then my smithing, as I want to get more of my steel resources and tools and iron tools as well. What also speeds things up for you is getting yourself a iron sickle or a steel sickle. It doesn't matter, just make a sickle and you can quickly just forage your plants that you just grew, and while you're doing that, you can also move around and do other things. So while I was doing that, I also was able to plant other things and forage and craft other items. It's a quick way to do other things and multitask so that you can get more things done in less amount of time. Now right here, my inventory is getting pretty full, and I want to make sure that it's not as full so that I can find items a lot quicker. So I'm just gonna compact things down, take the tiny items and make them into bigger things, craft them up. So I have all the string, I decided to craft them into ropes so that I could save more space here and pretty much just empty it out. I have a lot of berries. If you have a lot of berries or a lot of one item, try to eat it, try to save space, because you only need 1 or 2 berries so that you can plant them for later. Heading over to Spring Isle for chromium. When you're on your boat, you always want to make sure to check your stats, make sure your thirst is good and your hunger, and also check up on your backpack. Look how full my bag is, and look at all that flax. So what I was doing here is planning on trying to see what I could get rid of so that I could save space and be able to find things easier. I have a lot of berries and a lot of herbs and flax, so I wanted to get rid of those fast and quick. You can always just dump them if you don't need them. Like, I didn't really want to eat my herbs because it'll lower my thirst, and I don't have any more in my bucket to compensate for that. And there we go, my backpack is a lot emptier. I have a lot of tree stumps, so I thought I would craft those up real quick and then make myself a ladder. Now I did end up getting chromite there, but I also went to gold rock so I could get some gold as I was moving that direction, and I got myself some chromite, which is underneath gold rock. It's a little hard to get under there. You always want to have herbal remedies when you go under there so that you don't die, because your health under your stats will go down and you will drown. Next, I headed for Magma Island. I went to the small outer little grassy greenery area with the trees and decided I would get some more resources here, as well as get the yew bow, the yew tree. So in the future, I could get the yew bow. But of course, in order to do that, you will need a axe or hatchet. So right here, I decided that I would make myself an axe. As the yew bow, the yew tree cannot be foraged. You have to chop it down. Here I am chopping down the tree. Normally it looks grayish, but for some reason today it looked brown. If it looks brown, just know that it's like the middle tree right here on the island. And sometimes it takes a few tries, but eventually you'll be able to chop down the tree. And here is the yew stump. Making my way into magma, I am now ready to craft my blue still, and it's only been an hour, but I have all my skills up, at least level 4, and I have so many resources from every island. Once I get this blue still, I can go settle down on an island and make myself a castle, build whatever I want, and pretty much just create a base. When I'm crafting a lot of blue still, I want to get out everything that I need to make blue still. So I'm going to get out all my gold, all my Terrafix dust, all my coal or charcoal, and I want to get this stove out so I can just be able to cook the blue still and make it pure blue still instead of raw blue still, because you'll need a pure blue still to craft it into anything. I also want to get all the rest of my gold out, because I do have some gold ore. I want to cook that up and make sure I have all the resources that I need to make blue still, instead of trying to find everything one at a time. Just get it all out at once so that you can craft as much blue still as possible. This saves me a lot of time, and I'm not trying to search through my inventory. I have a lot of Terrafix dust. You just want to plan ahead. I did end up going to Terrafix after Bento, and then to Gold Rock to get some more chromite and go straight into it. It's always a good idea to plan ahead and make sure that you have the resources that you need to craft the items that you want in the long run. So for here, I wanted at least 6 blue still, because I wanted to make armor, a sword, a pickaxe, and a blue still flint. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the blue still igniter. It's a fire starter. It's the best in the game. So here's kind of the blue steel recipe I'll give you guys. You need 2 stainless steel, 1 Terrafix dust, 1 piece of gold, and charcoal, and then of course your magma. You have to come to magma to make blue steel. So you come over to this lava pool, click it, and then click create item, and you get yourself raw blue steel. Now I ended up not having enough chromite. Chromite is the most annoying item in the recipe to get, as it takes 15 minutes for the chromite to respawn once you mine it, and there's only 3 places in the map to get chromite, and they're all kind of far apart. So getting on top of chromium early game is really important for getting blue steel in the long run. Now I did burn some meat here. I just ended up cooking it because I wanted to make sure I had enough food on me, and just wanted to make sure that I could save space, because if I just have raw meat, it's useless in my inventory. I ended up having to go back to Spring Isle to get that chromium. You will need a lantern if you're going to go into this cave. It's just right up at the top, and you'll need a steel pickaxe to mine it. Making sure you have all the resources that you'll need to craft an item is very important, as in this case I didn't have enough chromium. I had to go back and it took a lot more time. So here I am cooking all my chromium and my blue steel. You will need chromium, a lot of it, to also make armor and a sword. So here I am making a blue steel igniter. You're just going to need a piece of pure blue steel and charcoal. And most of the time it's 100% success. But it is indeed the best fire starter, as the other ones take a little bit longer to set things on fire. I did end up making a blue steel pickaxe, as it has 100 success rate. So if you go straight for that pickaxe before you start crafting anything else with blue steel, it'll be a lot easier to get more chromite and things that you'll need to make the blue steel. If, of course, you're planning to go back to magma and craft more blue steel. As you can see, the pickaxe is pretty much instant mine. You're always going to get pretty much a 100% success rate. There's one other thing I want to go through today is the Terrafix horns. So you're going to get your Terrafix horns out. You got to click create item with 2 of them. Look at that, I got a T right there. It's pretty funny. And you'll get yourself Terrafix dust. So you just got to kill a bunch of these guys. They are hostile no matter what, even if you don't attack them. So what I like to do is lure them like this and take them straight to the water, and then they'll just fall down and drown, and you can forge the meat and the Terrafix horns. So you're going to need 2 per blue steel. However, make sure to watch your health, because these guys pack a punch. You want to make sure that your health is okay when you're attacking them, so that you don't lose your inventory and you don't die. Remember though, your backpack will not be lost, but all the items in your hotbar will be gone if you die. But that's going to have to do it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this generalized speedrunning video was very helpful to you and helped speed up the process in crafting and getting your skills up in the game Survival 33 Classic FE. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe if you are new or would like to see more of these kind of videos, and I'll see you guys another time. Thanks for watching. Bye!